Here we have a pre-owned 2019 Ford Explorer. This one comes in the XLT trim level. Magnetic metallic is the paint. And then we have the ebony black premium cloth interior. For the powertrain, we get a 3.5 liter naturally aspirated V6, made it to a 6-speed automatic transmission. And this particular Explorer just has a little over 80,000 miles. But as we come to the front end here, LED headlamps. Really like that design there. Of course, reminds me of the police Explorers that everyone probably sees all over the place. But these had a pretty good record of being reliable. 18-inch aluminum wheels. Power door lock controls, power window controls, power mirrors. Headlamp controls, you get a foot pedal, parking brake, hood release, and then a manual tilt, telescoping steering wheel. But there's our power driver seat with two-way power lumbar support. Want to give a big thanks to Chevrolet Buick GMC of Murfreesboro for allowing me to review this Explorer today. I'll leave a link below in the description. But if you're looking to find the best price on one of these closer to home, click on that second link down below. It takes just a minute to fill out your information, and I'll make sure the local dealers are fighting to get you the best price on whatever new vehicle or used vehicle you might be interested in. I'm sitting back here trying to figure out how to get the seat to scoot back. I can lean it back. It's interesting, but seat back pocket right there. There's one over there as well. Rear AC controls, bottle holders, excuse the lighting, and there's a 12-volt right there. But there's a view of the front from back here. It's pretty dark in here. I don't know if it's just because of the interior, it's getting dark outside, or if these windows are tinted a bit, but there's a look at the third row. A little storage and a bottle holder on the back there. But I like that grab handle there. Seems very sturdy. Now I will say, child locks are there. I wish I knew how to get this thing back. It's got to scoot back somehow, but it's not easily accessible. Let me put it that way. It's not where you'd expect it to be. There's a look at the back end there. Rear parking sensors are integrated in that bumper. And there's that dual exhaust. And there we have the trunk space behind the third row. 12-volt there. I will say I'm pretty impressed by the space back here for this to be on the platform it is, to have this third row and then still have really good storage back here. Better than a lot of, like a Tahoe or something like that. I feel like this has better rear space. It's just not as wide. So that's impressive. And then I think there's a way to access the spare right there. Now this does take E85 or gas, and it is capless fuel filled, so that's nice. Now in terms of folding the seat flat, you can just pull up there, and then there's a way to tumble it as well. But again, I guess you really can't move this thing forward and back. Well, no, that looks like it's moved a little bit. I don't know, this one has stumped me. It's kind of getting on my nerves, not knowing what's going on. Because there's really nowhere to move the seat back because the third row, the bottle holder and all that is in the way of the seat. But there is the front passenger seat. You just get a power seat bottom here, and the seat back can be controlled there. And the lockable glove compartment there, owner's manuals. And then we can pop the hood here. And again, that's a 3.5 liter V6. Well, let's go ahead and hop in the driver's seat. I really like the leather wrap steering wheel. That feels nice. Interesting horn sound. I was expecting better, but whatever. Over here to the radio, this one does have that smaller screen, so you can go through your AM, FM bands there. Sirius is there. You can adjust your sound levels there, and then for media, you do get the USB or the Bluetooth audio set up there. And then you can go through all of your settings here. So display settings, camera settings, clock settings, all of that can be adjusted there. Volume knob is here. You can cut the whole thing off by pushing that button. Tune knob, hazards are right there. And then here we get our single zone manual climate controls, but we also have our rear climate control as well, which I like. Then underneath here, see if I can, it was dark in there, but it's a USB-A port and then a 12 volt right there. And then storage right in there. And then for the shifter, one thing I will say is this is kind of, I feel like, been a little torn up over the years. I don't know if it's because somebody had their leg here, if this just kind of melted, I don't know. But grab the lever behind, reverse neutral drive. You have the sport mode there. You can manually shift on the side here. Then bottle holders, little ashtray. Center console cubby space with another 12 volt right there. But there's a look at the back seat from up here. And again, I apologize for the lighting. Vanity mirrors here. Now to the steering wheel, blinkers. And we do have our high beams we can toggle there and flash. And then over here we have our wipers. So one time off, 1, 2, and then that's the fluid there. And then for the actual front wipers, you just control that and push in there for the front wiper fluid. Now over here, we can go through the center stack and the gauge cluster, all those options there. And then in your settings, you can adjust the display, distance, temperature if you want to change all of that, tire pressure, and then your language right in there. But cruise control, standard, on, off, cancel, resume, speed up, speed down. Then over here, Bluetooth controls, mute, voice recognition, volume, and we can go through our radio stations, track list there. And then we can go through the actual bands right there, as well as the rest of the audio sources. But headlamp controls, I don't know if I showed those earlier. Push button start. Finally, here's the key fob. But next, let's go ahead and take this 2019 Ford Explorer XLT out on the road for a test drive. So starting the test drive in this Explorer here, love having the V6 here, but honestly the 2-liter turbo that's on the newer ones, I like that engine as well. I think it's a pretty powerful setup there, and I like how they did that. But this V6 is pretty solid. Now in terms of the low end torque, it's nice to have that naturally aspirated V6. But the fuel economy is much better in the 2-liter, I think, according to the EPA. We're gonna give it a quick pull here, not gonna come to a complete stop. Here we go. Oh yeah, she's getting it. Yeah, it's pretty fast, honestly. I see why the police love these things. But for this to be an 80,000 mile vehicle, I mean, the ride quality is pretty good. Not feeling anything, I guess, amiss. Seems to be driving relatively straight. Of course, it's gonna pull a bit to the right because of the slant of the interstate. But a very, very good ride here. And it's just solid in terms of the power, the space you get, just everything that's in this is fantastic. It's really a good vehicle, I think, for the money. And again, that's why you see so many municipalities buying these, specifically around this time frame when it had the 6-speed, the V6. It's just a good all-around vehicle in my opinion. I've seen a lot of these go to the auctions, the police auctions, with like 180, 190,000 miles on them. Now, I think this might be a pre-owned bargain, honestly. Pretty much any Ford Explorer is, in my opinion, just because, again, these have a pretty good track record of being reliable. Tons of space in them, just checks all the boxes. But what I like about it is these were relatively fuel efficient for what you get here. A 3-row SUV. You had the space even behind that 3rd row to have additional storage if you didn't want to fold the seats flat. And it was something that didn't feel like a minivan. It didn't feel like a mom car. It just, they look good, drive nicely, ride was fantastic, and really didn't hear any huge problems out of these. At least that I can remember. And again, when you have full-fledged police forces, buying these like hotcakes, obviously they have a lot of things that people want. Something that's powerful is nice to have. Something that can be somewhat tuned is nice. You can add things to it pretty easily. But just having the space was a big plus here, and something that's fuel efficient and also, again, looks good. And let me rephrase that by saying relatively fuel efficient. Specifically on the highway, I feel like this is where this really shined. But just a good, solid vehicle. Now, I want to give one more thanks to Chevrolet Buick GMC of Murfreesboro for allowing me to review this Explorer today. I'll leave a link below in the description. But if you're looking to find the best price on one of these closer to home, click on that second link down below. It takes just a minute to fill out your information, and I'll make sure the local dealers are fighting to get you the best price on this or whatever pre-owned vehicle you might be interested in. But a pretty solid bargain in my opinion. You have something that drives nicely, easy to drive, tons of space inside, and it's really a sleeper in terms of a quick SUV that has 3 rows. And again, you don't feel like you're in a mom car. And that's what a lot of people that get these, that's what they're looking for. But you basically have this to traverse everything else in that realm where you want a car that has space, but you don't want a van. And this is still a good buy, even at 80,000 miles and being 6 years old. So with all that being said, this will bring me to the end of my review of this 2019 Ford Explorer XLT.